Okay, so today we are going to be doing part 2 of the setup video. Now, to anyone who doesn't understand what we did, we are going to be talking about trading setups. We were talking about trading setups in your office or home in the previous video. Today we are going to be talking about the traveling setup. Stay tuned for this video if you want to find out more. Okay, so like I said, we had a part 1 to this video. To anyone who has not seen that, there's a thumbnail over here, link down below in the description. You can go watch that video to finish up on part 1 talking about the office setup. If you guys are done watching that, you can come back over to part 2. So what we are going to be doing in part 2 of this is talking about a question that a subscriber asked us, asking what my home setup is as well as what my travel setup is, because he does also travel a huge amount. Now, for myself, to introduce myself to you, why I'm able to give you this information, my name is Morgan and I'm a professional trader. I manage capital for clients based all over the world, but on top of that, I run a training academy and I train students in over 28 countries around the world. I've built this very specialized online training academy that allows myself and my team to teach students and teach them about how to trade, invest, and manage their wealth in the financial markets. For the purpose of this video, I want to try and elaborate and give people a bit more information about my travel trading setup. Now, this is a big step because this is obviously talking about if I'm going around a huge amount. Let's say, for example, I go away for a weekend, I'll go away for a couple of days. This is really the setup I make use of. Now, there's quite a lot of stuff that I actually have that I keep in my travel case, but luckily almost all of it fits into one bag. Now, that is obviously something that works really well. Now, what you're going to see in the back is quite a few different things, and these are things that I was talking about in the previous video, but these are also things I make use of in the travel setups. So the most important part is talking about the laptops that I make use of. Now, in terms of the laptops that I use, pretty important step. Now, when it comes to trading, you obviously sometimes need more than one computer screen, and that is why I have 2 laptops. Sometimes I had 3 laptops, but that was a little bit too much, so I decided to stick to 2. Now, the big part about trading, like I said in the previous video, is that you don't need a huge amount of processing power. Running something like MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5 in your computer, most laptops are able to operate and run them smoothly. So you don't need a super big gaming laptop, you don't need something crazy. So I decided to go for a more efficient purchase, buy a professional laptop that focuses on processing documentation, Word, email, etc. that I can also use for my trading. Now, for the big one, the first step is having something a little bit small and portable to start out with. So I'm going to start actually with the mobile devices and work my way up to everything big. So the big step is sometimes you need something that you can walk around with. Now, when it comes to phones and mobile devices, I'm not really going to give any recommendations on that, barring the fact that sometimes some people have really odd smartphones that they make use of. For myself, I decided that I was going to go with something like a Samsung device, specifically because I enjoy using Android. Don't get me wrong, I love iPhone as well, but when it comes to value for money, I find a lot more value with Android. For myself, I decided to purchase a 5.5-inch screen because that makes it really nice to obviously read the charts, and it's better than having a slightly smaller phone. When it comes to the trading setups for traveling, I always try and carry 2 separate mobile devices, so I have access to my trading accounts all the time. If I lose one phone, I immediately have another one. When it comes to something else, I like to make use of something like an iPad. So this is just an iPad mini. This is one of the recent versions that came out. This works absolutely beautifully when I need a slightly bigger screen and that I want to try and have a look at the charts more extensively, maybe look at dual charts at the same time, or have a setup running. Now, this is a really nice thing to make use of. You can get a slightly bigger iPad if you prefer, but the only reason why I didn't think that was needed is mainly because of having a setup like a small laptop. So this is just a simple laptop. These are called Cloudbooks. These are very small storage laptops. They got very small processing power, and you can see it's incredibly thin as well. These things work absolutely beautifully when you want to be working on the plane, for example. I'm quite a big person. I'm 6 foot, over 100 kilograms. So when I sit in a economy seat, if I'm traveling, let's say domestic flights, and I don't want to book a business seat, I can't fit with a 15-inch laptop like the one in the background in the seat properly. So I need a smaller laptop to actually focus on working. This is quite a nice one, but the difference is you can see in the screens, there's no real reason for me to get a big iPad because it's the same size as the screen. The reason why these work really beautifully for people who want to start out is that they are actually very cost effective. They're not too difficult to use. Obviously, very simple functionalities. You're not going to be doing a huge amount of things on this other than trading. And that is why when I am trading, or if I need something for a small and portable use, I use this. But if I've got my big 15-inch laptop up, I've got this on the side with additional charts that I can watch. So this is just a simple monitoring laptop that I make use of for traveling. Now to the main laptop that I make use of, I decided to go for something a little bit bigger. I went for a Core i5 laptop with 4 gigs of RAM, went for a really nice graphics card inside of it. So there's a little bit of custom things that I managed to get put in this. But on top of it, it's a really nice big 15-inch screen. So in terms of using a big 15-inch screen, I can obviously see the charts a little bit better. It's got good processing power, and it's quite a simple laptop to make use of. It's a Dell laptop, which some people will argue against, but as again, in terms of the best professional computers that I was able to find, this was ranked basically as #1 for value for money. These laptops are in the average price range. They're not too expensive, but not too cheap. I looked at the much more expensive laptops. The main reason why I didn't want to go for an i7 or something like a gaming laptop is because those gaming laptops use tons of power and are very, very difficult to make use of when you're traveling because the battery goes flat so often. With a Core i5, this thing can last at least 8 hours on full-on documentation work on the entire time, and its standby time on not using it too much is over 16 hours. With an i7 laptop or a gaming laptop, I barely get 4 hours out of it. Now this is because I come from a gaming background and I knew this, and I decided to go for something more efficient. So going for a more efficient computer is a better idea to go for. Now another one that I like to make use of when I've got 2 computers set up, sometimes I might also have a screen if I've traveled to someone else's place and that I might be in an office or with another team of people working with them while I'm traveling, I like to also have a keyboard. Now this keyboard is very nice because it's a wireless keyboard. It's basically connected via a wireless dongle that plugs into the laptop. What this allows me to do is walk around, sit wherever I want, and be able to operate with a mouse pad and the full keyboard. Now this is a lovely thing because if, say for example, I'm presenting on some sort of thing to do with trading and investing, I have something I can walk around with and I can use. I can sit far away from my laptop and make use of it. On top of it, if I want to have my laptop screen slightly further away from me, in line with, let's say for example, I've got a monitor, one laptop and another laptop, I can have this, put it right in front of me and I don't have to reach all the way to the keyboard. Very simple, practical thing to make use of when you're traveling. Doesn't look like very much, but it adds up in the end. I kid you not, you will want to have something like this. This is a little bit expensive for just something this simple, but it was worth the investment. Now, in terms of something that's pretty practical, but probably the most important part of the setup is what I carry everything in. So in terms of what I basically was able to choose from is either a carry bag or a bag that I can carry on my side. Now, the main reason why I didn't want to choose a carry bag is because a lot of the time when I'm actually out at meetings, I'll be wearing a full suit. Now, this sounds absolutely crazy, but if you have a really nice suit, a custom suit on, and you have something like a band like this that is pulling down on your suit, it can actually pull on the material. It will crease the padding of the suit on your shoulder, and it can sometimes pull on the threading. This is something I learned as a very difficult lesson. Had a brand new custom suit made and basically got the suit damaged because I had a bag on. So the lovely part about this is the reason why I chose a carry bag like this is if I'm wearing a suit, I've got 2 nice handles to carry. I found when you carry something like a rucksack, it's a bit too big, and if you carry it down at your side, sometimes it can scrape against the floor. This at least is the size of the 15.5-inch laptop, so I can fit both 15.5-inch laptop in as well as an additional laptop. So it's got 2 compartments as well as an additional 2 compartments for my notes, for my notepads. So most importantly is just to start off with just some simple notepads that I always try and keep with me. When it comes to trading, you're always going to have trade ideas that you're coming up with. You need those notes. Then also I'm always keeping with me my HDMI cable and VGA cable. I've got a very long HDMI cable in case I'm going somewhere where perhaps there's a big TV screen that I might be able to use or present on when it comes to some of my business meetings, and I need to make use of that. Sometimes people might not have spare cabling available for you and you need to use them. Another one that will come in here are my chargers on top of that, so I have space for my chargers in the very back compartment. So the second back compartment is for any of my notes and notepads. So for the two middle compartments, usually for the laptops as well as any spare phones and the mobile and the iPad. In the front is pretty important because that's all the important accessories. I always try and carry around with me at least two USB chargers. So those are just the simple USB ports. These are really nice because if you ever need to charge your phones, of which I always have either an iPad to charge or a phone to charge, those are also really important to make use of. Another one is also always carrying around a spare mouse. So I usually use the mouse pads, but if I want a mouse, that's nice. This is actually something I was given to myself for a project I did with BMW. Way back when, I used to do a lot of implementation projects and software development. So this was something that was given to me by BMW, but it is actually a wireless mouse. Really nice thing to make use of. Most importantly is always having flash drives if you've got something you need to work on. Also a really nice thing if you're traveling or if you're at business meetings is having a battery pack that you can charge your phone with, which I think most people have, but also really important if I lose a Wi-Fi connection and I basically am not able to get access to actual roaming on my trading setup. So most of my Wi-Fi runs straight from my phone's data. So I've got two different cell providers on both phones, as well as making sure that they tether straight to my laptop. Okay, so we had a bit of a mess up. Unfortunately, my card filled as I was going through my bag. So I'm going to quickly jump back and start off right there again. So I stopped off with just basically talking about the battery pack. On top of that, I think I also mentioned the notebook, having an additional mouse with you, as well as obviously, most importantly, all of the pens and the problem I have with that. Like I said, everything in the background here fits into this bag. It's ready to go and whenever I need it. Another one that I also wanted to mention is just having a really, really nice headset, because if you are traveling a lot, you're going to be in busy areas, maybe busy open offices, airport lounges, you're going to be in restaurants. You want something you can hear properly. If you're, let's say, for example, watching videos, watching the news, you don't want distractions, you don't want to miss any specific words. You want to make sure you can hear what you need to hear. For myself, I bought a pair of JBL over-ear Bluetooth headphones. They're probably a lot more expensive than you really need. I remember paying quite a lot of money for these when they were coming out, but they are really beautiful. They turn, they twist, they fit perfectly on the head. And on top of it, they have got a microphone. So you can also use these for phone calls and talking to people. So if you are on, let's say, for example, a talk with your mentor, with any of your team, and you need something, you can make use of these connected to your phone, your Apple devices, connected to your laptops if they've got Bluetooth enablement. Then another one is also talking about using some adapters. So when I'm traveling and I've got the laptops, they can only take one HDMI port. Sometimes the new laptops don't have any other ports available. You can make use of this. This is a USB 3 to HDMI adapter. What this does is you plug the additional screen in with an HDMI adapter, you plug this straight into the USB 3 port, and immediately you have an additional screen running. I'll put up a picture of it here. This was an Asus laptop that I was able to use with two additional screens. I even think those were TV screens I was making use of. That was just a setup I needed while I was working there for a couple of weeks. That is a simple thing that I keep in my bag. This is the J5 Create HDMI to USB 3.0. Very expensive little things. I think I've got about 3 of them. I always keep them with me. And then also something a little bit bigger is this IPS monitor. It's an LG 25-inch IPS monitor that I make use of. If I'm traveling and I can take something that big with me, I always will. And let's say, for example, I'm going away on a holiday for a few days and it's a driving holiday, then I will take that with me and set it up wherever I need to set it up. And then I'll make use of that as well, on top of using the 2 laptops. So that is just a simple example of my travel setup. Majority of this fits right into that bag. And it's a very, very simple setup, probably all less than $2,000, because once again, I like to try and buy things efficiently, not spend too much money, but once again, still buy good quality, which is also an important recommendation. I'll try and put the links to as many of these things down below so you at least know what you have. But once again, Jeremy, I hope this answered your question that you asked us, and to anyone else who has questions they want to ask us about trading, investing, and wealth management, ask the question down below in the comment section and I will make sure to get back to you. If the question is cool enough, I'll make sure to do a video on it. But once again, to anyone who wants to find out a bit more about why we run this training academy, why we train students in 28 countries around the world, I built a very specialized online training academy that allows me to train students via a specialized online training platform. Our students are able to make use of accessing either online or through specialized mobile apps developed for them. On top of that, they get access to 12 months of training, private coaching, and extensive support programs while they learn about how to trade and invest. If you want to find out more about this, you can make sure to email study@msequitiestrading.com or visit www.msequitiestrading.com. The entire cost of the program is only $475, really great value for money. Once again, links down below in the description, everything you need will be there, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers for now, everyone.